Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I have a new roof tent on the truck today. This is the Stargazer Duo from Inspired Overland. This is not sponsored by them. Bought the tent with my own money. Right before this, I had the Aspen V1 from Free Spirit Recreation. It was an amazing tent. I had that for about 4 years. It was on my Subaru Crosstrek right before it was on the truck. And one of the reasons that I got it was that it was really compact, and it was one of the only ones I could find at the time that could actually fit on a smaller vehicle. Loved how quick it was to set up and tear down. Lasted a very long time. Nothing broke on it over the entire 4-year period that I had it. Truly awesome tent. However, my one complaint about that tent and many of the other tents still on the market right now is that the skylight options are very limited for some reason. And what Inspired Overland did was they turned the entire roof here into one skylight, which is very appealing to me. So that's what's on the truck now. Just installed it last week. This will be my first camp trip with it. We're out here on the Washington coast, of course. This is a site that you can find on Hipcamp. I'll put a link in the description down below if you want to check it out for yourself. Thank you to Hipcamp for sponsoring this stay. So because this is my first time staying in the tent and really my first time setting it up at camp, it took me a hilarious amount of time to figure everything out, even though I watched the directions ahead of time. Some things that I'm going to be curious about is just how structurally sound it is, because this is an extremely lightweight tent. I need to double check the specs, but I believe that it is right under 100 pounds. I'm going to put a link to the tent in the description, not an affiliate link, just in case you want to check out the specs yourself, but I'm very confident that it's just under 100 pounds. Because of that, you know, a little bit more lightweight materials. We've got these poles here to help support the roof. There's also some poles around the front side of the tent that are supposed to help it from shaking around. So overall, I love the design. It's very wide open, plenty of windows. There's even another acrylic one here on the rain cover, so we get a ton of light here, and that was my one complaint. A few of my initial thoughts on the tent and some things that I'm liking already. There is a pretty nice self-inflating mattress inside of here, and the valves are really easy to access. I did have one on my previous tent as well, so this isn't entirely new to me, but I noticed how comfortable this one was immediately. There are a lot of interior pockets, and there are a lot of areas for ventilation, both on the back of the tent as well as the front of the tent where your feet are. This also takes some diesel heater ports. On their website, they do say that it is a 4-season tent, so I'm curious to see just how 4-season it is. I imagine that part of that rating could be due to the fact that it can accept a diesel heater, because my previous tent had insulation on the walls. These ones, as far as I can see, there is no insulation because I'm able to see the light coming through them. Again, not a downside, just something that I noticed coming from my previous tent. Because we're right on the coast here, I want to say that it's about 55, 54 degrees today, and it's really windy, and I can see the ocean from here. I'll show you in a second. So the temperature should drop, and I'll get a good idea of just how cold or warm the tent stays at night. I do have a proper rated sleeping bag in here, so not an issue. It's a sleeping bag that I would camp on the ground with as well. So one thing that I'm very curious about is to see how this tent does on a rainy day. I know that it's called the Stargazer Duo for stargazing at night. However, I think this tent would look awesome on a rainy day with the clear roof. We do live in the Pacific Northwest. It rains quite a bit here, so the first time that I see some rain coming up in the forecast, I'm going to take this out, go camping, and see how it does. I do appreciate that it's got this nice rain cover here, so I feel like I can have the back door open without a bunch of rain getting in through here. And then, of course, with the canvas down on the inside to expose the skylight, we're still going to get good light in there even on a rainy day, which will be a huge plus. My previous tent, again, no true issues with it, and I don't think that it's doing better or worse than other tents that are currently on the market. But on a really rainy day, it is peaceful to look out the side windows and whatnot, but it does get really dark in there. So I think this is going to solve that problem really well for me. I'll do a more in-depth video a little bit later on down the road once I've used it some more. Again, today it took me a hilarious amount of time to even set it up for the first time, so I'm still getting used to it. I'm sure that I'll continue to get faster setting it up over time as well. One other thing that I do like is my previous tent, over time, I kind of had some difficulty getting the tent material to stay in. There's a bungee cord that a lot of tents use to kind of wrap the material in. That was getting loose. I tightened it up, and it just didn't seem to do much for me. This tent, on the other hand, the few times that I've opened and packed it up at home, I've noticed that the material really likes to stay inside, so it closes up very fast, which is something that I'm a fan of. But yeah, that is the main event of this video. I'm camping pretty close to home tonight at a Hipcamp, keeping it very simple. I brought a sandwich tonight that's in the fridge, a couple of drinks, and then in the morning have some bagels and some cream cheese. I'm gonna go check out and see if I can get down to the water from here. Apparently this Hipcamp does have beach access, so I'm gonna head down there and check it out before the sun sets tonight. All right, really quick before I get down to the beach, let me just show you in detail a few of the things I was talking about. So this is the self-inflating mattress. This is one of the ventilation ports right up top there. And then there's another one down there. It's very hard to see in the dark, but there's one down at the footbed. This is one of the diesel heater ports. There's another one right there. And then behind us here, this acrylic panel opens up in the rain flat to give some more light. And then that is the panel that rolls up to cover the ceiling if you don't want that to be see-through. Good morning from the campsite. I slept incredibly well last night. The tent was awesome and the coastline here is absolutely beautiful. I know that we're covered in some trees a little bit, but last night I was able to see some stars out of the roof tent, which was awesome. No complaints. It was very comfortable. Slept through the night. I honestly couldn't even get out of bed this morning. So I did check the tent specs one more time. And I know last night I was saying I wasn't sure if it was just under 100 pounds or what the weight was. The tent is actually 93 pounds. I'll still link it in the description down below. Again, not an affiliate link, just putting it there in case you want to check it out. But yeah, it's getting close to 10 a.m. now. So I'm going to go ahead and get packed up and get out of here.